Good morning, everyone. This is a basic tech review of the 2018 Specialized Diverge Expert 1x. Going through a lot of videos on YouTube, I didn't see a ton of just kind of the basic rundown of these bikes. There's some videos of guys taking these off trail and leaning up against stuff, and there wasn't just a lot of breakdown of the basic review of the components of this bike that I may have found helpful. So I'm going to start with the general overall, and then easiest thing is to go from front to back and just kind of give you all a breakdown of what I see are the most important features of the bike and stuff that hopefully, if you guys are interested, might help you make a decision between, you know, this bike, the Crux, which is more their cyclocross, and the Roubaix, which is more their on-road version, which is used, you know, throughout the Peloton and the Paris-Roubaix for comfort. But this is kind of like the middle of the road. It's their adventure bike. This was actually rated in Velo News of November 2018 as Innovation of the Year. This bike was, so I'm pretty stoked. That was great, and I'm gonna kind of break down the stuff for you. In the description, I'm gonna put down a couple of pieces of information. I'm gonna put down a link to the Specialized website where it'll break down, you know, component by component what's on this, and then I'm gonna put down a link to SRAM's 1x micro guide, which really breaks down the 1x system. It compares it to a 2x system in terms of gear ratios, in terms of what it's used for, but we'll get to that a little bit later when we're doing a review of that part of the bike. So as mentioned, this is the Specialized Diverge Expert 1x. It is a full carbon bike. It is the 9R, so it's 2 grades down from the top of the line carbon. This is the $4,000 version. There is a $9,000 version, I believe, which is the one Peter Sagan had in the YouTube videos where he's, you know, basically treating it like a BMX bike, which is very impressive. That also comes with the carbon wheels. It's an X-Works frame. I didn't have that kind of money. I don't know that I would have spent that on this, but this is a phenomenal stiff bike. This comes in the black, red, and gray version. There's also a satin oak and orange version, which replaces the gray and the red. My bike shop had very few of these ever come in. This was the first one that they had, and I jumped on it. I did like the other color scheme as well, but I love the red accents on this one. This comes with also the aluminum set of wheels versus the carbon. They're very nice. They're very lightweight for being aluminum. And then, yeah, I added a few pieces which we'll discuss throughout. I added, you know, obviously my own pedals, my own bottle cages, my own air pump, computer, and such. But everything else other than that is mainly stock. There did make a few changes, so we'll just kind of go from there. I'm a huge fan of the 1x system on this bike. I think for being an adventure, all-road, something you can do some cyclocross, something you can do some gravel, even your basic road work. I've never run out of gears. I've never spun out. The gear ratio on this one is a 42 tooth front with a 10-42 11 speed in the back. That is a massive gear ratio in the back. But we'll get to that one a little bit in terms of gear ratios. Like I said, the micro guide does a phenomenal job of kind of walking you through the whole system. So with that said, we'll take you just from front to back. So I'm going to grab the camera here. So up front, as we've discussed, this is the SLX 24 wheel set. So it is 24 spoke front. They're the Roval, so it's Specialized branded. This comes with a SRAM CLX rotor. You can see in there that this has got some really nice perforations throughout the disc brake. It keeps it nice and cool on the rotor. This is a full force brake pad and HRD system, so it's hydraulic road. It is a really nice set of wheels. Approximately they weigh about 1,550 grams, which keeps them fairly lightweight even for carbon, unless you go really high-end carbon, but it is a great wheel set overall. I did change out to the Roubaix Pro wheels. or tires. The tires here you can see fairly smooth, a little bit of traction, but these are 32 millimeter wide. I like these best for road, like gravel, all that kind of stuff. I think it's a little bit nicer ride overall. They're really plush. I run mine between 50 to 60 PSI depending on the weather. I've got a lot of concrete, but mainly chip seal where I live. So I do not run these as tubeless, although they are tubeless compatible, both the wheels and the tires. I leave that open so that I can put on the stock wheels, which were the Trigger Pro. And you can see just kind of the tread on those. It's a little bit aggressive. There, you can see that it will make for typical road riding a little more rough than probably what you'd like to do on a daily basis. But they're great overall tires. I enjoy them both, but these are the ones I leave on there most of the time. I've done a century on these. I've done the MS 150. I've done just 50 mile training rides. So these are the tires that I go to the most. As we move up, you get the hover bar right there. You can see that it is actually a raised handlebar right there. I really do like these handlebars that you sit up a little bit higher when you're on your tops. You can see that massive HRD, the shifters, all that kind of stuff. You can actually see how tall that is. It's actually like a whole nother riding position. So you can put your hands on the tops, you can put them on the shifters, you can put them on the drops, or you can even put them in a slightly different resting position there. These are stock, they're aluminum. It's a great overall handlebar for what they are. You can drop them down as much as you can, or you can keep them raised up. So you give a lot of options there. One of the key parts about this entire bike is that guy right there, which is the Future Shock system. That gives you 20 millimeters of travel, so it gives you just enough of suspension to take the edge off. It is very stiff just on normal riding on the road, so you don't really have to worry too much about it bouncing too much on you. They come with 3 different shocks, so it's kind of a plush, a medium, and a hard. I left it stock, which is in the medium grade. One thing I can tell you though is when you want to adjust the height of your stem, I took out 1 spacer. There were 3 spacers originally. They send this cool little guide right here. It is front and back, and that guide is pretty much key to doing any adjustments on your Future Shock whatsoever. There are a pattern that you need to follow. It is sequential. They do have it numbered. They do have exactly what Allen keys to use, so it is very, very useful. Make sure you follow by that. Most of the time it comes stuck where I have my little decal there. That's my own special decal. But please follow by that, but it is a great overall shock system. One of the other great parts about this bike as we go down is you've got 3 bottle cages right there. So the bottle cages, I've got 2 carbon and I've got 1 plastic on the bottom. My plastic one actually holds all my tools. It holds a spare, it holds a CO2, it holds a multi-tool, but it keeps it low, out of the way. I left it plastic, so as things come up, kick up, hit the cage, it's not gonna break like the carbon ones would with a big enough impact. So I really do enjoy the 3 set. The item in the middle there, the big bulky piece right there, is the SWAT box. That is a Specialized branded tool. It does hold a CO2 cartridge. It holds a Specialized branded valve. It holds a Specialized branded tire lever, which are actually pretty nice, and then holds a spare tube. So the nice thing about those 2 pieces right there is that replaces any need for a saddlebag. So I think it keeps it much, much cleaner overall. It allows me to mount my bike lights a little bit higher for visibility, which I really enjoy, but it keeps everything lower. It keeps a lower center of gravity on the bike, which I think is great for what I'm using it for. There we've got a Lezyne air pump just attached to the bottle cage. I've used it once or twice. It's great for what it's there for. Like I said, I run my tires between 50 and 60 PSI to keep it nice and soft, so that has absolutely 0 problem blowing it up. This is the 56 centimeter frame. And then as we go up, that is a carbon S-Works seat post. Some of the models out there do come with the CGR seat post. I did not opt for the CGR seat post. I find that a great pair of chamois shorts will make an effect throughout the whole ride versus a CGR seat post, which does a great job. I did not just find that as a $200 accessory I needed at the time. That is the standard stock Phenom saddle. It is the chromoly rails. It is very comfortable. It's kind of their all-purpose saddle that is making more of a way over to road users, but I've had good luck with it so far. No issues comfort-wise. It seems to be a little more quote-unquote comfortable than some of the road saddles out there. Last but not least, you have the 1x system. So this is SRAM's Force 1x. Like I said in the earlier video, this is a 42 tooth front and a 1042 in the back. When you look at the back, you can actually tell that it is almost larger than the actual 160 millimeter rotor, which is just impressive in size. The 10x42 has been a great system for my purpose. I live in North Texas. We don't have a lot of mountains. We don't have a ton of climbing, but the climbing we do are they're steep, they're pitchy, or if you're gravel, you've got your typical road to take you up some nice hills. But this has been a great system overall. It is a 42 tooth front, 1042 in the back, so get you actually a 1-to-1 gear ratio when you are in your highest gears, which is phenomenal for climbing. I do have the Ultegra pedal system on this one. I have an XTR pedal system as well when I want to get more gravel or it's more wet. So that's great for those days, but they just, as you know, change interchangeably. The great thing about the micro guide is it does break down the full gear ratio for you. The front can actually go down to as low as a 38 chainring. The front can get also, I believe it's like a 52 or 54, which is gargantuan for the people that want to do time trial. But that's the phenomenal thing about this system, is that the front chainring can be swapped out to make this kind of whatever you want it to do. If you want to go up to a 46, you want to go up to a 50, and there's gear ratio compatibility charts that just kind of show you what it's equivalent to. As an example, with this 1042 system, this is roughly 92% of the gear ratios that a 50, 34, 10, 32 system have on a 2x system, which is a huge gearing in of itself. But it's phenomenal for climbing. That rear cassette is pricey. I'm not gonna lie, when I first started looking at them, that cassette alone is $360 here in the US. So be careful, be gentle. That would hurt when it does come time to replace it. So keep a nice clean drivetrain. Make sure that you take good care of it. And then you get the long cage in the back for the rear derailleur for those kind of gears. But when you go through the micro guide, pay attention, read about it. It's just a great way to do it. Your right side, if you're in the US, is for your shifting up and down the cassette. Left side, you have nothing. It's just a brake. So it makes it a little bit cleaner, maybe even a little more fun in ways, because it's just one less thing to think about and one less thing to mess with. Plus, it does get rid of a lot of your repeat gears in the back, which is great for me. I didn't feel like worrying about necessarily shifting that big ring from front to back. This gave me a little more consistency throughout mine, although your jumps are, approximately four tooth rings between them all. So it's a little bigger than you're probably expecting, but it's a phenomenal system. So that is one of the big breakdowns. The nice thing about this system as well, and this bike and how it's set up, is that it does leave you, as you can see right here, enough for if you want to go back to a 2x system. If if this isn't your thing or you have an extra one laying around, you can mount a front derailleur onto that, and then you just have to do your appropriate changes on your shifters and all your components. So that is the breakdown of the bike. I do appreciate it. Please leave any comments that you might have below. If you guys want me to answer any questions, you guys have anything you want to do, I'm going to do my best to answer it for you guys. But I do appreciate you listening. Hope this video was good and wouldn't get you some information that you may not have gotten otherwise. Some of the other little pieces here that you may have seen is I've run the Wahoo Elemnt computer I've got a Spurcycle belt front for just day-to-day use. I showed you the bottle cage, showed you the air pump, but other than that, this thing's pretty stock. Does come in a little bit over 20 pounds total, which is not bad at all, trust me. You don't really feel it with everything so low on this bike. It keeps the very top part very light, very fragile, agile, sorry. Keeps it very agile, keeps it fun. So enjoy the video. Thank you very much and have yourselves a great day out there. Bye-bye.